kind of the substitute maybe for the AA with the Clockwork as their opening 2 picks, but very solid, great team fight, really nice synergy between these two heroes with the hookshot Cogs initiation setting up a pretty straightforward cooldown potential. So for Ehome, it's very standard stuff. CDEC, though, get Rubik, which acts as a pseudo Clockwork counter.
Yeah, you can lift them up, throw them out of the cogs, and just even use them against him, depending on where exactly they're placed.
It's often also fairly easy to steal call down. It's one of those abilities where a lot of the time either Gyro casts call down from far away and doesn't want to use battery assault yet, rocket barrage. I don't know. I'll never learn. Do you have the same thing? Do you also? Okay, all right, it's just me. So either he casts it from far away and you won't use the rocket barrage, or he goes in first and uses rocket barrage and then call downs. And then stealing call down at that point, it's a very clear audio cue when it goes off, and that could be a key ability. But Clockwork has also got a couple of good abilities to steal, but I feel like most of the time these teams pick Rubik, they don't really, they pick it so early, they're not picking it for the spell steal anyway. Well, obviously they are, it's a big part of the hero, but it's not like, yes, this is the spell we want, we're definitely getting it for that. They're getting it no matter what. I don't know. Still a first phase pick. It was first phase in the last game for Ehome, I think.
And I do find this interesting from Ehome. Last game, they won against the Brood. They did not have great solutions for it, though. We saw particularly the lack of catch was the big problem. And they have okay catch with Clock, but he doesn't match up that well against Brood in general, so they're just going to go ahead, ban it out. It seems like they want to try to cut down on shenanigans this game, which is where you want to take out that pesky spider.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting. Like we talked about, the Broodmother bought a lot of time for CDEC, and even though they beat it, it's a distraction if it's still in the draft. You tend to focus a little bit too much on the Brood from time to time. It's a relief when you ban it, because then you're like, all right, then that hero that can mess with a lot of drafts and can catch you completely off guard in the end, you don't even need to worry about it. So I don't know if there's anything else Ehome really needs to ban. That's the other thing. I don't see any CDEC hero in here that you're like, oh wow, this is just the pick for them. For me, the pick for CDEC is Drow, and they get rid of it in the first phase. And then Undying, I don't think they're banning it against CDEC, they're banning it against the meta itself. And after that,
the one hero that is out there right now is Wisp, which some teams have been using quite a bit. Do you guys see Wisp as a possibility for either team?
Only really for Ehome, with Lamb being the big player there. CDEC, not a team who run much Wisp. I've seen maybe one game from them in the past month or so with the hero, but it's definitely not something where they go to and feel comfortable with.
It's a bit difficult against Queen of Pain just because of how much burst she brings to the table. And often
it does work nicely with Gyrocopter if they want. The Wisp Tiny combo is even available as a duo, but
there's also, technically there's actually a Bristleback plus Wisp out there, which is normally we don't see both available going into the second stage of the draft.
I'm a little bit surprised that Ehome banned that Lifestealer, because I feel like the Clockwork helps to cover the Gyrocopter somewhat with regard to his weakness.
I really think they view Lifestealer as just a very good counter to Gyro, because this is 2 games in a row that they've banned him out after picking Gyro first phase.
Yeah, I know that Ehome themselves definitely look towards the Lifestealer a lot as a way to answer Gyrocopter, so I think that's probably motivating things somewhat here.
Other hero that's out there is Storm. No big lockdown heroes. CDEC actually banned the Lion, which is good against Queen of Pain in general, but it looks like maybe the Ward strat is the way Ehome want to go. They get the Shaman. No guarantee they need to. This could just be a casual Shadow Shaman pick. Gives them a little extra push.
Good lockdown against the Queen of Pain. Extremely punishing if you jump in and get Hex Shackles. There's very little chance that you're escaping from that, so
I could see Ehome just going back to that mid track again. It was a hero that worked out pretty nicely for them in game 1. They don't have the Earthshaker, which worked as a really nice setup and just teamfight crowd control to allow give Leshrac the room to run in. But Clockwork can kind of fill that niche, I feel, this game if they want to run another Leshrac.
Yeah, even something like a Dragonite is an option, maybe a little bit weak laning-wise, but
if they want to push,
but if they want to push, that's definitely kind of an option.
CDEC pick number 3 now. Haven't really shown much as far as their overall game plan with this Queen of Pain Rubik. It is a bit on the generic side, which is usually how you want to start your drafts. They will take the Lesh.
Okay. I was about to say, what do you think about them getting Lesh? And now it's like, so now they have a lot of magic damage, but they can play the Quap as physical, like last game, which they did in aggressive. I think they're going to take the same approach now already with this, or it's a support Lesh. But I was like, if there's no Clockwork here, I actually thought Leshrac was a really good pick as a core, even though you don't have an obvious physical damage dealer. Leshrac and Quap together can buy time to get into late game and get a physical damage Quap up. But Clock is one of the best counter picks available against Lesh, so maybe they're hoping that the Rubik can protect the Lesh and get the Clockwork out of the cogs. And it's also a deny pick. Now it doesn't go Ehome's way for that push strat.
Yeah.
I think Ehome just pick the Pugna now. It's godlike. There we go.
There's your Pugna.
Very close.
I feel
like this is a better Pugna game than the last one. Yeah, they won a mech carry, I guess.
Well,
but so
Pugna
did
can.
Pugna.
Yeah.
Pugna got it last game.
I think for the 5-man push, they've got enough tower damage with the Shadow Shaman. They're probably thinking, and
The
SF
ward
maybe,
is amazing this game,
godlike
though.
here, really.
you know.
I guess that's the one area where Shadow Fiend's not bad. It's just like, God, if there's ever a good Pugna game, it's this. 3 heavy int casters already.
I really think Ehome could have gone for the thing we saw earlier in the tournament where they get a generic opener and then the ward strat. I think that exact strategy could have actually worked
Jug,
here.
Pugna.
Shaman, Jug, Pugna. And the reason I said they should pick Pugna now is that I think it will be CDEC's next ban.
Well, now you probably ban this.
Or no,
list.
never mind, not
I don't think
anymore.
so.
No, they need a support.
Yeah, they need a support. And
Yeah.
I think that's where they didn't want the
That's when they
Pugna.
picked SF, yeah.
The Pugna is very vulnerable in the mid lane. He's a lot squishier than the Shadow Fiend.
Well, are you
Oh, yeah, they
100
would have had to play the Jugger's support, actually, if they went that. So
There is a Wisp out there. If they want, they could try to do like a Rubik Quap bottom, Bristleback Wisp off, and then run this Leshrac mid. You mentioned Core Lash a little risky against Clockwork in general, but the Ehome aren't thinking that. They're going to leave it out there, and the Witch Doctor will be the ban instead.
Shadow Fiend just dies under his tower to a Bristle Wisp mid as
Yeah.
well. I think we've seen that a couple of times.
That's true. They could go mid
in recent
as well.
tournaments. I mean, even Viper just totally dies to the Bristle Wisp on the mid lane. That does mean that CDEC would have to shuffle their lanes around a little bit, maybe like offlane Quap, Rubik Lash safe lane if Lash is going to end up being a core, but
Yeah.
it's an option.
I'm just curious if CDEC won it, because it's been out there all game. They obviously didn't think it was worth an early pick.
Yeah.
Ehome do need a support, but they're going to be going first here. So what do they want? There's a Disruptor. Shaker's been banned. Feels like it needs to be a fairly decent laning support, seeing this Bristleback and Queen of Pain coming out.
I do
They
like the
banned
Chen
Chen.
ban. Yeah,
That's good.
Chen would have been a great last pick. Something that none of these teams run much outside of Wings, who we saw do a couple Chen picks, but it would be such a good 5th pick with this draft. Chen great against the spread damage. We've got Quills, Leshrac AoE, Fabe. All 4 of these heroes are spread damage, and that's where Chen with Hand of God mech. I mean, maybe the Shadow Fiend goes mech. Whoever you'll have a mech on someone. Just counters this draft so well.
It's a tree for Ehome against the Living Armor, or against the Edict. Is a bit weaker there, but
Let's just don't go Edict anyways until much later.
I mean,
on.
I think you probably want a value point. Level 1's enough to break it.
I don't think this is a very good Treant pick. Just if you look overall in the game, Treant Shadow Shaman as a support duo can work really well if you get Leech Seed into Shackles and it sets up for a kill somewhere, but it also puts pressure on them. These two heroes really, in my opinion, really need levels. You can play Treant without Overgrowth, but come the early part of the mid game, I feel like you need to have it, else you're a walking living armor, and that is really underwhelming. Shadow Shaman obviously needs the wards, and on the other side, like you said, there's Edict. In my opinion, they have a lot of spread damage. They also have Shadow Strike against the Treant armor. They just have a lot of damage sources that are going to come in and very quickly get rid of the armor.
Quills, which are pretty fast.
Yeah, and they're pretty weak on the first couple of instances, but still remove living armor stacks. And Ehome don't have an obvious frontliner that they can just siege towers with. They don't have like a Dragon Knight or something that they put living armor on and they just go and hit a tower. Shadow Fiend is at risk. If he gets lifted by Rubik, I actually think he can die in a burst, even with living armor on. So
it's a brew for CDEC. This is
support Lesh.
Okay, so support Lesh.
That is a very good pick as well. This time I favor CDEC's draft. I think they got a way better draft, both for themselves. I think their lineup itself has better synergy between their heroes, and it's also better against what Ehome are trying to do. The Shadow Shaman wards, they're obviously looking to try to push towers with that and living armor. Both of those heroes tend to fall off past minute 30. They're like really impactful minute 15 to 30 with the wards and the overgrowth, and then it gets weaker. They have solutions for that period of time. They have Brewmaster, who's perfect for that time in the game. Leshrac support with a couple of levels with Lightning Storm should be able to hold towers. And they scale pretty well into late game. Quap and Bristleback. And Leshrac could even become a core if they want to.
Yeah, potentially it's a quad core with one of the best playmaking supports in the game and the Rubik remaining. Talk to me about the Brewmaster pick, guys. We've not seen much of this hero in the tournament. He used to be viewed as like one of the best ways to counter heavy push, because you push, if Brewer's blink and he goes in with split, he can just blow you up before it ever gets going. Is that the main reason for this pick? Do you see any particular motivation to go for him now when he hasn't been popular?
That's one of the big ones. He's good at team fighting as well, so I think he just brings a lot of control to the table, which they maybe felt they were lacking.
Yeah.
There is a Shadow Shaman who can get an insta-hex off him, so he has to be careful when he blinks and he doesn't get insta-lockdown and blown up. But the burst damage on the Dire side was what, like a Shadow Fiend? Shadow Fiend Gyrocopter is pretty decent. So.
Yeah. It's definitely a little bit dangerous from the perspective that Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend, they're going to be going for early BKBs anyway, and BKB is always a big item to talk about against Brewmaster because he pops the ultimate, but you pop BKB, and there's very, very little that he can do. So I think it is being played by Aggressive, so it's probably going to get safe lane farm, and that means that he is going to have his Blink Dagger up at a decent time to get impact in before those BKBs come out, but it seems like an all right pick, though I think it is a little bit risky. Like you were talking about, there's the Shadow Shaman lockdown to worry about as well.
So Sin said he thinks CDEC has a much better draft this time. Do you guys agree? Do you
I
have
mean,
a favorite?
much better for themselves than last
It's much
time,
easier to
but
execute.
It's better than Ehome's in this game, too.
Okay.
It's much better for them, but it's not much better than Ehome's.
Okay, so you think the drafts are even, but it's a much better CDEC draft.
Yeah.
No, they have a better draft than Ehome as well, but not a much better one.
I'm okay
better,
with
but not
Ehome's
much.
draft outside of the Treant pick. I think they were better heroes. If they wanted to sustain maybe a Dazzle or something, but I still think Ehome's draft is fine. The Shadow Fiend pick is just a staple of CTYs, and I think they don't have a good way of dealing with the Shadow Fiend this game.
All right. Well, with that said, we're going to take the reins here, Sin. CDEC moving into Ehome's jungle, looking to get aggressive early on. Shiki leading things off for now. Looks like our Shadow Fiend will be heavily rushing the bottle. He's going to pop a single Quill, trying to get in on RTK. He's got Aggressive about to join him, and they are trying to get the double rune, it looks like. 4 top, there's one just sitting bottom 4. They're going to lift RTK, drop him onto the cliff. What a way to start the game. And now they look for C2I. This could even be the first blood. They're going to get double bounty rune. They might get the kill. They do. The Shadow Fiend falls. Aggressive potentially pays the price here. Little bit of frame dropping coming out, and the left stun secures the retreat. Ends up, in the end, being a 1-for-1, but with a cliff to RTK and a double bounty rune going the other way.
That is the dream start for CDEC. That was really good. They even got the first blood, right? They cliff, they get 2 runes, they get first blood. And the hero they lost was a support. No, wait, it was
Bristle.
actually Bristleback, but he's instantly back in the lane. I guess he just bought a TP and came in, so nothing really lost in that regard. He will be playing mid lane against the Shadow Fiend of CTY, and well, the courier is delivering a TP to RTK, but unfortunately it doesn't know how to throw it up the cliff. So
I think there is a place on the cliff where it can get there, though.
this is always funny to see.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
He got
Thank
it
you.
from there. All right. Not the worst then. He's actually getting.
And the lane is pushing.
Oh wow, XC is pushing.
Oh,
So
normally you'd want to be kind of denying a bit more there. Try to get your range creep killed off quicker, but I don't know if he was there in time to ensure the equilibrium. Well, actually, no, he was the one who got the bottom
I
range. so
guess
he
no
should
one
have been.
distorted it either.
Yeah.
So it should just be meeting evenly. Maybe he was thinking, okay, clock is cliffed. I want to push as fast as possible to force rotations down here from a support, and that will open up top. But RTK does get the TP down. Do you think that they should have tried to keep Q there with Rubik and prevent him from TPing out? Did they even have a ward? So they could. They did not.
They
right?
did not. I guess
No,
that's
then they can't do it.
Yeah, they've got the one ward bottom. Where did their other obs get placed? Are they still holding it? Or?
It's in the top lane,
Okay.
right behind green. There.
There you go.
That's a great
Pretty
ward
good
when
ward,
you're playing
actually.
aggressively. This is a good aggressive ward for the Radiant. It generally doesn't get counter-warded because the Dire usually have to use their sentries, at least one of them for the pull spot, and the other one you tend to put around the jungle area to the right of the lane.
Uh-oh. RTK is taking a beating here, bottom lane. Already the magic stick out for XC. He's got the level 2 Shadow Strike. He wants an early kill. Won't be a first blood regardless, but RTK able to make it back, bottle up, and heal for now. We'll see the Bristleback holding his own here with Shadow Fiend, but not really able to dominate him. See us going well for the friend of Shadows. Haven't been many stacks here. I guess that's the one thing Ehome want to try to find some time to do, is get the jungle stacked up for the Shadow Fiend, find a little space for the Gyrocopter over near the Ancients. Probably not this second, but this is where the aggressive tri-lane does keep the supports bottled up top. And Sin, we haven't really talked much about the tri-lane. How do you feel the teams match up here? Do you give either team an edge? Is it just down to execution? What are you thinking?
This is a pretty close lane. I think Ehome's is stronger if they manage to get the engage away from creeps. They just need Rocket Barrage to reliably hit a hero, and then Leech Seed is going to keep them alive fairly well. Of course, the Shackle. That's the thing. If CDEC engage on anyone else than Shaman, he'll be able to Shackle the Brew. And then they lose a lot of their damage. Then the question is whether they go on the Brew to kill him or they go for one of the others. But they definitely have some decent lockdown in that regard. But even, let's just say CDEC don't fight them. Right? They just hold the lane. If Ehome aren't stacking because they need to constantly help out the Gyro, that's a huge win for Bristle. Because then he stays ahead or even with the Shadow Fiend mid.
And it looks like they're winning that top lane quite handily, as our Brewmaster is 19 and 11 to a 5 and 0 Gyrocopter.
This is really, really good for CDEC this early game. They're already had 1,500 gold.
Jeez. Well, like you said, dream start. They cliff the Clockwork. He's got to buy a TP, waste precious time and experience. They get the first blood. They get the double bounty rune, and now they're winning the CS battle. It really is the dream. There's just no other way to put it. That said, it's a dream that can quickly get turned around. There is heavy burst on the Ehome side. They've got a big team fight later on this game, and it looks like the key hero has got to be the Clockwork for them. They've got 2 damage dealers here, and the Gyro, the Shadow Fiend, but there's a bit of a move forward here by XZ. Doesn't want to jump on RTK just yet. They're trying to soften him up for a potential go later on.
This is one of the worst lane matchups for Clockwork. So I think CDEC put their lanes very well. They're winning 2 lanes. They're drawing mid, which is Shadow Fiend versus melee hero. Might have spoken too soon.
Not for long.
He's got the haste rune
body
still.
blocks
Body
from
block.
Lanham. This is going to be real tough for Shiki. There's your raise.
Oh, Clockwork got the kill.
That's kind of unfortunate.
I don't know.
Well, actually, it gets him his boots almost.
He gets level 5. And considering how much he's getting destroyed in this lane, getting level 6 is actually going to be pretty difficult.
And
so
Shadow Fiend
that
still
kills-
ultimately gets the experience there, so.
Clock still shares it, right?
Yeah.
So he gets a third of it.
Yeah. Which is ultimately CTY still going to be at least slightly ahead mid off of this. And Clock catching up nicely.
Yeah, hero levels very even. The only discrepancy, of course, Clock being behind a level against Quap is to be expected, especially when you get cliffed. And apart from that, Ehome are just getting their farm on this Shadow Fiend. I'm worried for them, though, if this Gyro doesn't start finding farm, that CDEC hit this sweet spot when Brew gets the blink after these treads, which, you know, he's probably only getting these because it's an aggressive trial lane, and he wants to be able to pressure in the lane. But when all of CDEC's lineup comes together, say minute like 12 or 13, do Ehome even have the power to fight them back?
It's going to be tough to say. It looks like
They need the mech on Shadow.
CDEC don't want to get to that point without having some additional action, it seems. They're going to smoke. Thinking about a wraparound. Instead, they're going to plunge straight up the lane. Well, thinking about that. Now heading towards top. A little indecisive about where they want to go. They also took a while just to get the smoke going. They moved from that top tower down over, like, below their Ancients, waited for a courier delivery, then popped the smoke. And they're hoping RTK might walk in. They're going to actually reveal this thing, and they don't get the lift off. Haven't shown Garter, but with the Rubik being revealed, the jig is basically up at this point. There's no hook shot yet, although RTK is not going to lack for confidence despite it. And in the end, it seems a lot of waste of time for CDEC, actually. And CYF will be happy to take this. Finally, they reassembled the tri-lane. Not getting a huge amount
Gyro's
done.
in trouble.
Oh, this could change, though. Lift, right back into the clap. The follow-up's coming. Lestrak stun misses, but I think they get the kill anyway here. They do. Still, a little bit closer than what
Nice
they were
lane
hoping
ward.
for.
The lane ward expired now, but that's set up. They knew exactly where Gyro was and saw the opening for Rubik to come in from the side. Get a free kill. They can't get the tower. Obviously, it's full health for now, but do put pressure, of course, forcing probably a rotation up here from Trian, who's currently playing in the Radiant jungle. I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish. Did he ward down there? Yeah, he did. Okay, because they can't kill the Quap at all. And they also can't kill the Bristle, realistically. They got that 1 kill in the lane, which was good. But if he's hovering anywhere near 3/4 health, it's never going to happen.
It does feel like Ehome are going to be much more the defensive team for the first 10-15 minutes of this game. Once the Brew blinks online, they get the Bristle's first item, and the Queen of Pain just tanks up, gets her levels. CDEC want to run at you at that point with the split, and Ehome much more about farming their Shadow Fiend, clearing out stacks with Gyro, getting the Shaman level 6. It just feels like a much more reactionary lineup, and it's going to be CDEC looking to make moves around the map. But first move didn't really work with the smoke, and now the hookshot's online. This is the one ability that could make some plays and set things up for Ehome.
I think they're going to need RTK to play a good game this time around. They The Treant and Shaman level of Shadow
They
Shaman.
found Lanham. Lift. Stun. That one hits, and down Lanham goes. And they,
So
they bottled a haste rate on Bristle. This could be huge.
Oh yeah, he could dive Shadow Fiend at some point if he wants. They got level 5 on DDC Shadow Shaman for Ehome, so
The supports are getting well.
that's okay. They're slightly ahead, but Gyro is still losing
Yeah.
on farm.
I think that's okay given how valuable the Shaman 6 is, though.
Yeah. I would say so.
And Tree, you mentioned, it's really good to get levels on the support, but I mean, if you're going to sacrifice one, he's probably one of the better supports to do it on. He's not an Ancient Apparition or Sand King type of hero where they simply have to get stuff accomplished and get their levels fairly early. There's a move now towards the top lane. CDEC bringing in their Rubik-Leshrac duo. They have another smoke available. Q and Garter trying to find places to make aggression happen, but just nobody really opening things up here on Ehome. They're not pulling. They didn't actually see this movement, but they just know these supports are off the map. Everybody's got to be playing safe. So they've got somebody parked mid, the Tree protecting the Shadow Fiend. They have a Clock who, I mean, is not the hero that CDEC's likely to gank and also is difficult to kill anyway. So he's left alone. But in general, just they're playing keep away nicely. And meanwhile, their Shadow Fiend is racking up the CS. 67 creeps. And rising.
Yeah. Is that his full mech?
It's got to be close. Headdress.
Yeah, 930 sounded early for a 1 Death Shadow Fiend with 2 assists. So, all right, he's going to get that in a minute or two. The timings here... There's a slight window of opportunity here for CDEC before the mech. These two items, they obviously don't like negate each other, but there are two very important item timings in this game. If either of them was significantly ahead, it will result in probably 1 or 2 towers claimed for the team and none for the other. The question is if Ehome can hold this.
Yeah, the Rocket spotted Aggressive moving to that side shop, so that's why he saw he's under the Rocket Flare and doesn't try to make... Oh, I thought our Queen of Pain might make it go bottom, but not the case. Oh, now she is. On to RTK. Tries for the TP out. XE has the ult. He doesn't throw it.
He hesitated there. That was a kill, I think.
It looked like it wasn't going to be, but I think that was just us lagging a bit.
Yeah.
And then when the damage ticks kicked in, yeah, he would have had it.
Wait, RTK panicked a bit, I think? Reported top.
Well, Rubik died.
Was
did he kill the Rubik?
I mean, it's possible he could assist, and I don't think. What did he assist that? The kill didn't go his way. The kill was Gyro, so I don't know if he got a rocket off. I think he didn't, but maybe he was like, okay, Quap is engaging on me, and at the same time we're looking for a go top. I'll TP top. I have 3 bottle charges, and I can hookshot in maybe and set something up.
Well, they had 3 top before with the Brew Blake, so I think RTK was expecting everyone to be there, and it looked like it was just the Rubik, and they had either left or just decided to let him go because they did not use the split. But yeah, either way, the Gyro cooldown comes online, and that is in tandem with the mech that you mentioned. CTY just about having the gold, 50 short, just needs one more camp. Looks like CDEC won't find him before he picks it up. Aggressive on the move, but his smoke gank does get revealed. Does he find anyone here? Both team structures fortified, and they make the go onto DDC. Jump in from Aggressive now. The TP out attempted by Garter, ready to cancel it. Hits that split earth. Brings him down. They finish off the Shadow Shaman. And a Drums Queen of Pain appears. This is not a normal item on this hero. Why drums?
Good question. I cannot remember the last time I've seen this. I guess they want the active for their team in general.
It's pretty good with Bristleback.
Does it affect the brew split as well? Do they get drum effects? I'm actually not sure. I think they do, but
even if they do, is it that strong? Do you think?
Oh yeah, it's decent. It gives it some more value. It's not a go-to item for co-ops because you're generally looking to dominate, and it's like a hybrid item instead of one that's really good at playing aggressively. Good stats. The active is fine. Maybe this is a hint that he is going for a carry build instead of.
Yeah, I guess if you ultimately what it gives you synergizes better with those right-click items. Yes. To some extent, but we'll see. CDEC trying to push top, and meanwhile Ehome quick to counter thrust here in the bottom lane. Aggressive moving in. XZ will join him in whacking this tower. Now the whole gang kind of settles into it. Still haven't seen that Bruce split come online. Shadow Shaman has gotten level 6. Looks like the wards did get dropped over.
Dropped on top earlier.
Oh, it was top earlier. Okay. Didn't actually see them go
down. That tower
down.
is, I think, 1/3 health, the top tier one. Something like that. Yeah, pretty close.
And now the Bristle mech. So both teams really focusing on these items that will be extra effective in larger scale engagements. I mean, there's not, I guess there's a little bit less in the way of split push. There's heroes that clear waves quickly, but not that many that are hyper mobile. Queen of Pain, really the only one that has a ton of mobility at this stage of the game. So perhaps we'll see more team fighting, though for now, nobody's really forced anything. It's just been a rather slow opening, but it might heat up soon as Ehome get towards the middle lane, looking for aggressive.
Really good,
and he's just low enough that he's an easy takedown if they can get eyes on him. And oh, he might walk out of the Shadow Shaman. They hex him. He just appeared from around the tree line. The Hulk comes in. Quick takedown. Brew does have buyback, though. Ehome could get caught by this if they're not careful.
This could be a really good buyback. Well, even though it's minute 13 only. It's early to buy back, but if they get an opening with Rubik, could happen. But
looks like they want to soften up the wards a bit here. They're going to let Cheeky start off, and he does bait. Where's that buyback? There you go. Immediately, Ehome want to retreat. They've already brought Q extremely low. Lanham gets tossed back, but they need a little bit more than this. Where's the TP? Oh, he did blink forward. Gets off the Brewmaster split. Cyclone CTY tries for something here. Who's he going to focus first? Queen of Pain hold on to CTY. Max up. Looks like he probably goes down to this. Cheeky getting in real aggressive, but there's going to be another rocket barrage. Just to be careful not to die to this. Bounces off the cogs. Now gets turned against a bit. Buyback going the other way as the tree looks to re-engage. They're going to shackle up XZ and continue to chase forward. 4 heroes melting to the left, but he can't finish anyone. Cheeky, one auto attack from death. They're going to just start routing them in the opposite direction. Garter now thinking about a potential neutral deny. Will be bottled up from around the tree line by Aggressy, but he has little left. He walks into the call down. It's going to clip him once. It's going to hit him a second time. I still don't know if ZYF can get this. He's trying for it. Lash stun coming out. The rocket barrage does its work. Then the hook forward. ZYF so low. They got to keep this jar alive. They're going to. 4 dead. The Shadow Feed also, well, respawning soon with that Ehome can look to push in perhaps. Man, Sin, that was just a masterful
that was outplay.
Counterbait by Ehome.
That was really outplay. I also think the first buyback from CDEC, it's not the opening they're looking for. That Rubik goes in and lifts Treant. If they find a really high value target when that buyback comes in, Ehome might be more tempted to try to turn and fight, or maybe they just get a 1 for 0, right? If that was the gyro he would have caught with the telekinesis or the Shadow Fiend and tossed into the tower with the Rubik or with the Brew buyback. That fight is really different. Maybe it was the only target he could reach at the time.
But then perhaps it's just
and then they chased. And I'm not blaming CDEC for it because that really looked like a fight they could win. That was.
I mean, Ehome are also they tried to go on the Shadow Fiend, and he has the mech, and I think he already had his Ogre Club before that fight began. He was very difficult to bring down. And by the time they did, the Brew split was over, and just too much damage had been done. Well, Ehome, a little bit of momentum. Perhaps going to swing their way now. They could look towards Roche soon, Sin, because the tier 1 mid and bottom are both down.
Yeah, that was a really big swing.
As well as the
Brew graphs.
I think the Brew split will be up soon, but it's not currently. 8 seconds.
Let's see how much...
They have their medallion. They're going for it.
They lost 4,000 gold in that fight, the Radiant did, and about 2k on the experience. So Ehome are now, after being behind the entire game, the game is even.
And this was... I mean, after game 1, I guess this was the worry for CDEC, is that Ehome just outskilled them in the clutch fights. They played above what we expected through the mid-game, but when it came to the late-game fights, they just didn't have it. We're not at late-game yet, but Ehome showing that same level of competence here. And they're going to try to move towards top. It looks like they'll just let the tower go.
Yeah, they got Roche for a tier 2, which is... I want to say a fairly even trade at minute 17. The chance that Ehome can use this Aegis for a great fight is fairly small, and well, if they get a tier 2 of their own, it's obviously a win for them. But I don't think CDEC are going to let them.
Oh, Rubik will steal a raise. This will help the D push a bit. I do want to point out, Shadow Shaman has his Blink Dagger. I'm not sure if it's been... Oh, it actually has been delivered already. And he doesn't... Well, he doesn't have wards. He's in a position now to start making plays for the team. Against a Brewmaster, Queen of Pain. Hex is a very potent ability to have, and now they have a way to instantly unload it on one of those heroes.
Mid lane being pushed by the Brew. Trent will be there to defend. And this is one thing CDEC need to take care of, is when they push, they need to bring the tower down in one go. Treant is going to heal them up with living armor. And they've done a good job so far in getting both top towers at least in one swipe. Oh, one at a time. But Can they get more? I think they're looking to go aggressive in their own safe lane. They might find Shadow Fiend. Actually, that is really greedy farming here from CTY.
He has Aegis, and he has Mech, and he has Stick Charges, and there's a tower up bottom. They could possibly turn this. He's thinking about the engagement. The Brew Split is available, and he just takes forever to bring down. Now the Requiem comes out. It hits the Brew Aspects. He gets stunned once. The call down clips a couple of heroes here, but now round 2. And the whole team is getting into position. The one that's missing, though, is RTK. The Clockwork, he's not there. Lua, or not Lua, what am I talking about? ZYF does manage to force back that Queen of Pain. Lanham getting caught out a bit. He will end up falling. Where is ROTK? He's just so freaking far away. He can't really help the team. Now ZYF in too deep. He's going to get picked off. The wards go down, but there's still no follow-up. Ehome very discombobulated. Finally, the Clockwork arrives. We'll finish off Aggressive, somewhat salvaging this engagement, but it cost them an Aegis. It costs them a Gyrocopter and a Treant. CDEC going to be very happy with that one. And now they look for a bit more. They're hunting RTK. Blink Scream will find him. Another Shadow Strike in 6. Drum was already used. They're going to bongo their way forward. Oh, bounce back on the cogs. That may end the pursuit. No, XC says, I'm just going to keep on coming. Another Scream ready. Raises are waiting from CTY, but he only hits 1. Now the Mech, the Living Armor. They will salvage it. He must have TP top or something. Just had to run all the way bottom.
DDC. He does have the blink. He needs to react fast. Okay.
BKB now
They
up
could
on
try
Shadow
that.
Fiend.
Oh, I thought Lesh was going to try for that stun. He might have hit it too.
I actually thought Ehome was going to wreck that fight. They had a Shadow Fiend with Stick Charges, Mech, and the tower up. But yeah, it took too long.
Essentially, they traded a Brew Split for an Aegis, which is a really bad trade. But they outnumbered Ehome the entire first.
Well, they also got
30, 40
they got
seconds
the
of
gyro
fight.
though as well.
Yeah, but the reason that happens is, like you said, Clockwork isn't there to protect him. Doesn't come in until way too late. CTY bought all the time in the world. I guess RTK just had his TP on cooldown. He might have TP to another lane before it happened. Yeah, that should have been more Ehome than it was. I would definitely agree.
I didn't see what happened with RTK. I think he might have TP top, or his TP was just on cooldown, or he didn't have one. And in which case, that's somewhat just a team miscue to not decide to play them a little more defensively. I mean, they chased as though they thought he was coming. But either way, they're going to smoke up again. Very similar to last time, except there's no Roche. So instead, they're going to head on mid. Brew Split is down. This is a good time to make a go on him. And now the Blink Dagger Hex comes out. Looks like the hook shot actually missed, but they still pursue this one. Lesh stun comes out, and now they continue to fight through Aggressive. They'll bring him down, but Shiki's in the backlines doing work on DDC. Mech deployed. Hunt continues. Shiki hexed up again. The wards get dropped just for the bristle, and they're facing against his back. He's hardly taking damage. They're just going to give up on this. The missile continues pursuit. Shadow Fiend wants to go, but well, Clock actually wants to go. Gyro wasn't really sure about it. Now he decides to head the other way. RTK hookshot in 30. I don't.
This is the
I mean,
deepest dive.
really, this is just not happening. And finally, Ehome accepted. So wards dropped for not a whole lot, though. They did get the brew split, or the brew kill. Now the split's back up, I should say.
Yeah, DDC missed the Ward Trap. If he gets the Ward Trap there, they kill the Bristle, I think. It's enough for them. Even though he can one-shot the wards, I think he's probably going to have to destroy 2 of them to run out. And in that time, they will be able to catch up enough with the other heroes to lock him down. So I think it's a good play for DDC to try for it there. If he gets that Ward Trap, it's a very valuable kill, and they would have killed him very early. And maybe they could have backdoored the top tier 1, or even done Roche with their heroes.
And smoke number 3. This one straight down mid.
CDEC should crush this fight if Ehome run into them.
Yeah, they do have a Shadow Fiend BKB Requiem. That could be very scary.
That is true.
There's actually also Overgrowth. With their AoE, CDEC have to be careful not to get caught by this thing. And oh, DDC, he's too quick. He blinks out, and now they're walking up on a high ground against Hookshot, against Called Out, against the tree. This is terrible for CDEC. Everybody caught within, or is it? Actually staying alive for now. All of a sudden, a lot of lag. 2 heroes that they didn't get off their Brew Split. Chase onto Shiki. He'll fall as well. That's 3. Man, the perfect world lag really make it hard to see what's going on here. But yeah, in the end, they walk up the cliff, call down, Overgrowth, Hookshot, everything gets thrown at them, and they don't get off their Brew Split, and that's the fight.
That's the kind of fight where a more experienced team just back off when the smoke breaks.
Or if they go up, it's like Shiki in front, not the Brew.
So they cannot really lose this fight, but they didn't get split off. They get a great Overgrowth, but they don't have the presence in this fight to bring theirs out. I mean, look how low the Ehome heroes got. 3 of them with like 30 or 25% health. That was without a split.
That was without a BKB Requiem either. CTY, if he gets that off, I think everybody dies on CDEC. But
So they took the chance. They went for the smoke. Unfortunately, the guy they found was the only guy on the Dire team with a blink, so he actually was able to get out. And that's where you just cut your losses. You're like, we tried a smoke play, it didn't work. But chasing into the fog up the hill with 4 heroes missing like that is super risky. And they get to pay for it.
So XZ did go back for an Orchid Sind. What are your thoughts on the Orchid this game? There's not like an obvious hero that really needs to be silenced. Do you still like it just as for the general utility, or
It's
do you
very
think
good against Shaman.
Okay. So you think just for the Shaman alone, it's worth the pickup?
Definitely if you got it first. I'm still wondering what the drum was all about.
The never-ending rocket.
It's like, if you want to go this path anyway, what was the purpose of the drum? It is a different quap player than last game. And it could just be player preference from XZ, but every single play he has made in this game, I haven't felt like the drum was played an integral part in whatever they did. And instead, he could have had an Orchid, say, 3, maybe 4 minutes earlier. In my opinion, that would have been way more impactful. Maybe even 6 minutes earlier. Because then the drum build-up, he might have... I think he died once as well. Oh, it's hard to say. That's impossible to determine. But definitely a couple of minutes earlier as the minimum.
It's something we talked about coming into the game, is just the importance of aggressive to this team. When they win, he makes big plays. And this game, he's, if not their most important hero, then certainly very high on the list. He's just got to be very careful about how he moves around the map. Something that we discussed in the draft. The Hex is just, it just owns Brew if you have nuke damage to follow it up, and they have it in spades. He is going to build towards a BKB here, gets the Ogre Club, has the recipe. That gives him a little more freedom. You know, the one thing we didn't really mention, which I think is increasingly going to become relevant, is that Brew is pretty hard countered by Overgrowth if you just hold it until after the split. And as the game moves along, I feel like that could really shut him down. But we'll see.
Are they smoking again? No, they're just splitting out. Oh, there's Roche. Split is still available, of course. He didn't get to use it last fight, and I think it's even been long enough that he would have had it again. This is a fight CDEC have to take if Ehome start looking for the Roche. The question is how they want to engage it. Ideally, they see the Shaman, and they blink silence him with Quap and just blow him up. I wouldn't even say it's a bad play to just one-man Sonic Wave him. Just get him out of the fight. Kill him off and play the fight from there. Without a Shaman, you have a guaranteed split in this game, more or less. I guess you could still get caught in the cogs with Battery Assault on and maybe not get it off because of that, but that's a low probability play where RTK needs to make a really big play and no one can be in the neighborhood to stop to take a single bullet from the Battery Assault, and then he would be able to split.
Well, that elaborate Roshan dance, yeah, the stalemate. Commence round 2. Ehome smoking. And, well, it's going to be the eventual animation appearance. Rocket Flare apparently still going. I feel like that's probably been there for about 2 minutes, but...
What? Is it still there?
It was showing it. Either that or it just got shot. We didn't hear it. And I don't know, man. I feel like a Dota detective trying to cast Perfect World games. You have to like infer so much from very odd things, but... Well, we'll see. RTK about to move in. He's going to reveal himself from smoke. They find Cheeky. The wards get dropped in a pretty good position. Now the Requiem comes out. CDEC walked really close towards it. It did a ton of damage. Rubik, as well as the Bristle, dead off the bat. They did get off the Brew split, I believe. Cycloning the Clockwork for now. Trying to chase forward, but there's plenty of physical damage here. They're going to fight their way through this. Finish off the Queen of Pain, and I guess Brew disappeared. Is he dead? What's going on here? Oh, okay. He's running for the hills. That's good.
It looked like that was a really good Overgrowth. We didn't get to see it, but Co-op got held in place after Shadow Shaman had used his disable. So, nice.
Oh, nice Overgrowth, Lanham. Why are you Overgrowthing Roche, you
Why
fool?
are you using Requiem of Souls on Roche?
These players suck.
And the jump from Shaman as well. It's very important that BKB from Bristle does not come off before, or it's really important that Shadow Fiend gets Requiem off before Bristle BKBs.
Yes.
He took about, I think, 60 or 70% of his entire health pool and damage from the Requiem alone, and it was from the front.
Yeah.
So if they don't get that jump and they don't make that exact play with the Shadow Fiend, that's a different fight. If Bristle gets BKB off and doesn't get Requiemed, all of a sudden they have a damage source that's going to keep running for a while. He would still be fighting under the Mass Serpent wards that were in the area, but I think in that case, CDEC at least get 1 or 2 kills with their Brew split.
Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And again, this is just the importance of having a Hex. Whether it was a Lion or it increasingly seems like the Shaman is the preferred of the two Hex initiators for the Chinese teams. We've seen it more and more as the qualifier moves along. Perhaps Shadow Shaman's making a comeback. It certainly feels that way. And he seems to be a pretty effective support, at least for this team. They used it once in the group stage. They won that game convincingly. I don't know that they want to like first pick it or anything like that, but just sneaking it in a bit later on has reaped some bountiful rewards for them. And now Sind, they're going to look for more towers. With this Aegis in tow, ZYF having picked up a Demon Edge, they're going to take a tower top for free. They'll probably defend bottom here. They're starting to cement their lead, and I'm just looking at the net worth disparity, not really of the cores, although that's substantial, but these support heroes. That Shadow Shaman is almost doubling up the Rubik and the Lesh.
That is really unusual. That is Shadow Shaman. Lesh has really good farming potential, but they haven't really been giving him any priority. He has 28 CS minute 29. That is abysmally low. Sometimes you'll see support Lesh racks actually getting up to like over 100, maybe even 150 CS at this point if you give him some priority. He can jungle pretty quickly. If you get either a Yules or a Bloodstone build up for some mana regen, it's pretty effective. But Garter has really been supporting this game on the Lesh, and that's becoming a big problem now for CDEC, because where is the damage coming from? They have a Quap with a Drum, which I still don't feel like it's doing. I don't feel like it's doing anything. He has an Orchid. He's now building into BKB, no damage items. Bristle, Mech, BKB, no damage items. And the Brew ult is becoming really weak at this point. This is when he starts to fall off as a hero already. They've lost the stage that they drafted to win, and now comes the hard part. Who's gonna kill stuff?
It's tough to say. This is the stage of the game where Ehome are also very strong, because they've got their BKBs up on their two big carry heroes. The Clockwork has his 4 staff. He's about to complete an Ags, and he's just going to go right now. Finds Q, and see you later, Rubik. No buyback available. Shiki TP's in, but he gets hexed instantly. Trapped now with the call down coming through the Requiem. He does get off the BKB still. He's just getting auto attack down. Oh, CTY finally will get it off. Bit of lag again, and they're just going to right click him down. I think that was the Solar Crest.
Oh, he got the
Alexi! He almost got the kill. He gets nothing. They finally got the clock, but that was it. 3-4 dead. Buyback on Bristle. Ehome might just be punching their ticket to game 3 at this rate. This just looks very, very one-sided at this point.
Yeah, the Gyro still has the Aegis. He's probably just going to let Shiki kill him, because why not? They might as well use it now.
That Solar Crest, man, doing work. DDC.
Oh, if they find him again, this is over.
Uh-oh. It looks like the stun will help him survive for now. Lanham suddenly left behind, but I think they could re-engage here, honestly, with ZYF.
They're going to play it safe. They got the tower.
They forced out the buyback as well, worth mentioning again.
4 for 1,
Boink.
tier 3 buyback, so essentially 5 for 1, if you will. That's another big gold swing. This has got to be closing in on a 10,000 lead at this point, I think, for Ehome. Actually, more. 12k. Same on the experience. They had a hard time in the early game. They were losing their lanes. CDEC put their lanes, in my opinion, the ideal way. It's looking really good for them, and they just lost their way in the mid game this time around. Ehome outplayed them twice in a row. And then that fight is actually kind of unwinnable. After the hook shot, CDEC kind of need to react, and Shaman is just on the money with the Hex.
And that's what we talk about when we discuss just veteran poison experiences. You know, it might sound just like a soundbite, but this is what happens so often when it comes to big matches like this. Is the teams that have a lot of younger players who have tons of talent, and they have good team cohesion. It's not like CDEC are a bunch of pub stars who have no coordination or strategy. It's just tough to always make the right call in those clutch moments. And Ehome just have been pretty much picture perfect in those really big decisions. If they lose this game after the start they had, I just feel like it's going to be a 3-0 at that point.
I don't think they can expect a better beginning than this.
It's so hard not. I mean, as a former player, it just must be so hard not to go on tilt if you're in this position, right?
Yeah, keeping the team morale up is the hard part, and it also comes down a lot to player personalities. Some people don't really get faced at all. It's kind of the same thing. It's interesting because you can start overthinking it when you lose a game, and it can be good and it can be bad. Sometimes you come up with some great ideas, and other times you completely mess up. You overthink it, and you try to solve problems that aren't even there. It's something that you generally see a lot from emotional teams. The best example I have right now is a team like Cloud9, who sometimes have incredible games. Like, they're playing like they're the best team in the world, and then in a best of 3 final series or knockout series, if they lose game 2 and get to a game 3, they have a really low win rate on game 3s, I think, because they don't adapt well under that kind of pressure. And it's the same for player personalities, both in terms of drafting, but also in terms of play. Like, some people are less fazed by it. A lot of championship teams, the reason they are championship teams is that even though they lose, they don't go on tilt. Old Na'Vi, for example, countless times in lower brackets, losing the first game of best of 3 and coming back. That's where especially Puppy can get a lot of credit for that from back in the day.
There's your hook. It's going to force out the BKB on aggressive. Now Shiki trying to decide if he wants to go in or not. They do manage to stun CTY. The wards get stolen and trap him in, but he just BKBs. That Solar Crest making him nigh impenetrable. And they'll clear out the enemy wards.
Thanks for gold.
Yeah, I guess so. Brewmaster Split is available. He should get it off, but there's an Overgrowth waiting for this, and it should be dropped here momentarily. But actually, they don't need it. They're just going to right-click down the Brew aspect. ROTK hooking forward. There's a really nice Creed-to-Pain ult from XZ, but now the counter hook by Q trying to make plays. They just don't have the damage, it seems, Sin. Nobody dies. Gyro is still King Kong. And he'll walk in and start slapping racks again. They're going to hex Brewmaster. Chase onto him. Gets nuked once more. Ehome, just time to focus on objective. CTY wants the swag point. So now he's been cliffed, and, well, whatever. He'll blink his way out in just a moment. Getting a little clowny here towards the end. But
yeah, they're going to keep rocketing the Brew so he can't blink in if he had any plans of doing anything together with Lash. They do have Lightning Storm, which could perhaps... No, this is not.
Who are we kidding?
A little bit of a taunt ult.
Ehome going to give CDEC a bit of a reality check here as they finish polishing off that mid lane. I can only imagine the gold lead is getting completely out of hand at this point. 22-9, 15,000 gold lead. And again, this started so well for CDEC.
This is almost impossible by now. And it's crazy, because when you looked at the draft, CDEC had so much potential with the start they had. Like, being ahead by 2,000 or 3,000 gold with their lineup at minute 15 is just perfect. They didn't manage. They made a couple of questionable decisions. Brew getting caught out, not getting split off. I think, was it 2 fights in a row, or at least 1 key fight he didn't get it off?
Yeah,
they lost Roche because of it, and the game just snowballed.
What do you want to see from CDEC in Game 3? So, hold that thought. That's a hook on to 4 heroes! ROTK, you magician! Now the Shadow Fade sees opportunity. He's going to Requiem Spirit Bomb Q out of this world. The trap comes out. Then an excellent Overgrowth, holding 3 more heroes in position. Ehome are just beating the ever-living crap out of CDEC, and they have had enough of this. And it's time for Game 3. That was just heartbreaking for the game to end that way.
You could feel from the way RTK's hero turned that he was like, oh shit, when he hit that hook shot, right? I think he saw the Lesh only, and he jumps in. And the moment he hits this is like, oh wow, I found 4 heroes. How do I get out of here? Instantly
that's like if you're fishing, you cast the line, you get a little bite, and you're like, oh, I got one. And then all of a sudden it's like pulling you into the water.
It still set them up very nicely for the fight. He caught 2 heroes on the cogs. Shadow Fiend is a great combo play with that with Blink BKB. Look at this. So he's like, wait, oh my god, what did I get myself into? Get the fuck out.
And then Shadow Fiend's like, I got this one,
this
man.
Is perfect for SF. He can blink in, BKB, Requiem, instantly blows up the Rubik here, forces the BKB out of the Bristle, takes half of Leshrak's health to the left. The Requiem even stretches to the right. And the Overgrowth here from landed perfect. Triple BKB'd heroes locked in place. That was a very beautiful fight. I actually think that was Ehome's best fight of the game, and they had a couple of really good ones.
Well, Ehome are looking kind of dominant here. They're now up 2-0 in the best of 5, and with that, we're going to welcome back our panel, Basekip and Gods. I don't know how much you guys think there is to say about this one, but it is, however you want to shake it down, it's do or die at this point for CDEC the rest of the way.
Yeah. I feel like I just have to echo you guys, right? The laning phase went so well. I think they set their lanes really nicely. The draft was fantastic, but they just got outplayed in the mid-game team fights. And I mean, I guess the one thing that you can potentially say is maybe they need to look towards picking a hero that can provide a little bit more vision, like a Beastmaster or a Zeus, and just be able to get the jump, because that seemed to be the problem every single time. You look at all of those fights from Ehome. There was the one where CDEC went running blindly up a cliff, and they lost that one. DDC gets the Blink Initiation on the Bristleback over in the Radiant Jungle, and they lose that fight that way. And it feels like that might be the one way that they can shift things in their favor somewhat, because right now the team fights are just not going their way at all.
I think part of it's vision, but part of it is, like, kind of, as we've all said, they're getting outplayed as well. Like, the fight mid where Brewmaster bought back was a great time to use a buyback like that, but they just chased a bit too far, and just it kind of led to their demise. They even did kill off the Shadow Fiend, but it didn't really matter once they kind of overcommitted
Look at that
to
stat
it.
board. That's actually what you want your clock to have. That's like
20.
almost ideal.
Wow.
No deaths in the offlane. I think he died once in a fight, and he just set up every single kill, but the cores got them every time. And Clockwork doesn't scale that well
the
with
one
farm,
kill he got was the Rocket Flare KS
yeah, that was
at
the
mid.
Rocket Flare mid. That's right.
And also one time he needed it because it gave him XP towards level 6. So
That was a very good clock. I feel like when it comes to RRTK, this is his best hero, and it's actually a lot, in my opinion, at least in this tournament, a lot better than his second best heroes. He doesn't have those tilt clock games. I feel.
Yep.
It's pretty solid whenever.
There's
he
always
gets
the Bat Rider.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the
or the Nature's Prophet.
Creep Blaster.
Come on, it's the Nature's Prophet, right? The
The-
RRTK TPs.
the intimidation suicide.
Yeah.
he has a few fun ones.
But like Cinder was saying, he always justifies the first 2 pick on the Clockwork with his play.
Clock seems to be the offlaner of the qualifier. We've seen Darkseer is actually pretty popular, and other than that, it's been some like mixed dual lanes, bristlebacks, and whatnot. But Clock seems to be the one that's winning the most games, and he's also getting picked early and, for the most part, delivering on that.
We're not seeing any Clocks really get punished in the offlane. Every game I see Clockwork, he's getting XP, he's even getting some farm, he's testing runes.
How do you punish him? Because he can always draw the wave back with the cogs.
Yeah, I think teams maybe just not using their creep pulls. Like, Clockwork used to be a super popular offlane, then teams started just using their creep pulls at the right time to pull the lane away from the clock. So yeah, maybe he'd get level 2 from the pull camp, but he wouldn't get much beyond that because then they use their pull camps effectively. But teams just aren't really using their pull camps as well as they could be maybe with the Radiant side supports.
In this game, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because they aggressive trial lane. And I think that was better than playing a safe lane trial lane. So the Quap, in my opinion, played the lane well. She harassed she really put a lot of focus on harassing out the clock. Drained all of his regen, really bullied him out of lane. He still got experience, though. And like you said, the kill he got in mid with a Rocket Flare, pretty lucky. Actually gives him a shot at getting level 6 at a reasonable time.
Also got him his boots, basically.
And he got his boots, so.
Which you definitely need against the Queen of Pain. So, folks, with that, it's 2-0. Do you guys see CDEC bouncing back and taking a game, or are they just like broken mentally and just going to get 3-0'd out of the tournament here?
I don't think they're broken, but I think they came 3-0'd. I think Ehome's just too good for them.
They really feel like they're like stepping their game up. They did not look nearly this dominant in the group stage, but it's like, okay, let's put our game faces on now, boys. We need to just take home the 3-0 or take home the series and qualify for TI main event.
And maybe it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier with how much diversity they have in their picks. That they got them getting tape on CDEC, I think, is better than the other way around.
Because they can use it more.
Ehome uses it better because they're more experienced. So when they start seeing these drafts and these patterns, they map out what is really important for us in this game, what's really important for them. And the difference here is Ehome are banning against CDEC, and they're picking for themselves. CDEC are banning against Ehome, and they're picking Ehome's heroes. So Ehome always seem to be like they're going in with the mentality that they're up against the stronger opponent. That's what it feels like to me when I look at every draft. And Ehome just have the confidence.
So maybe it's just something crazy draft-wise for Game 3. Do they really need to mix up like Tiny Wisp off the bat, just throw in a Visage, try to get that Zeus?
I'm not sure, because I feel like with CDEC, they just never had heroes to begin with. They went for super predictable standard things throughout the entire group stage. It was always the Shadow Fiend mid, the Queen of Pains, the Earthshaker, the Witch Doctor. They had one of the smallest hero pools of any team outside of their carry player, who we saw aggressive play all kinds of different things. But maybe it's where they go back to like a PL or something in the next game. I'm not sure what the answer is going to be, though.
All right. Well, we'll see if they have the answers, folks. With that, Game 2 is in the books now. It's 2-0. Ehome will have CDEC on the ropes the rest of the series. Game 3 is coming up next, and with that, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the TI5 Qualifiers, the English Hub. We'll be back after this.
The feeling start. I put a wall around my heart. but you're breaking it down. It falls to the ground, 'cause I had lost what you just found. The noise all around, I'm drowning it out, like we're the only ones in the crowd. 'Cause you save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now, save me fire burns as the feeling starts. I put a wall around my heart, but you're breaking it down. It falls to the